business is your business. It's all up in my lady business with me, Mary Nisi. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in today. I am super excited for today's guest. We've got Laura Ora, an alignment coach for female entrepreneurs, guiding them to learn how to honor their energy and truly listen to what they want instead of what they have been taught they should. Laura is the CEO of Works with an X and Co., an urban branding studio, the host of a top 100 podcast, the Gutsy Podcast, speaker, author, and all-around visionary. She'll be the first person to push you out of your comfort zone and the last to hug you as you head to the next level of your life. It's like the carrot and the stick. Thank you so much, Laura, for coming on over to All Up in My Lady Business.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Mary.
I am super excited to have you here. You're basically doing all the things I wish I was doing.
Oh, well, I think we're all doing our own variation of things, right? And then we get to connect and have great conversations with each other.
Yeah, I hope that would be the dream, right?
That's the goal. I mean, imagine, I was just having this conversation with somebody yesterday. Imagine if everyone on the planet just did even 10% more of what brought them joy or made them curious or made them excited. What a different climate this entire planet could be in right now.
Oh, I mean, sure. I mean, yes. I guess the weird thing is why don't they? And I can say I can sit here and tell you why, because I haven't always had the best work life or toxic thought versus positive thought balance in my life, but I have been thinking a lot more about the limited time that I have left on this planet, and wanting to make sure that it's not just filled with garbage.
Yeah, I hear that loud and clear. And that is the work, right? That is the journey. That is the answering the why, but also at what point do we get out of our own way and allow ourselves to do things? And that's what it boils down to, right? Life circumstances happen and things go on in people's lives, and we all have our own story, we all have our own version, we all have these things, these moments that kind of shape where we are. But at the end of the day, we also get to choose. And I think that that's where things get kind of hairy, is when it comes down to choosing you. Are you going to?
I think that what might be the issue is people not realizing they're in their own way or realizing that they have a choice.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like, I have to perpetually give myself permission. Like, my instincts are always like, you don't deserve that. You haven't worked hard enough to deserve a break. You haven't made your goals, this month or maybe even the last 16 months. And so therefore you don't deserve to go on vacation or buy that thing or, just sit and watch TV without doing anything else.
It's a lot of conditioning too, right? Because your body and mind wasn't born believing those things, but because of circumstances, situations, societal expectations, past experiences, old habits, I mean, we could go on and on, they form now this kind of voice and these reactions to everything. And to your point, yeah, most people are walking around on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person has their version of it, and I'm not void of that. I very much implement the things that I teach because I go through them as well. I think that's sometimes in the work that anybody does. It's like, oh well, you don't struggle with that, so you don't understand. Actually, I can teach this because I probably understand more than you think or know, and so. It's this kind of wake up call. Are you willing to stop long enough to even have the conversation with yourself? Like, am I happy? And is this what I want? Like, when is the last time that you slow down? Not necessarily you, but just whoever's listening. When's the last time that you slow down long enough to say, what do I actually want? And that's a big question, right? Like, when I ask that question, more often than not, people are like, Ah,
Mhm.
that's a great question. I have no idea. And it's like, okay, that's okay, right? That's not another invitation to go down the shame hole or the beat myself up or, well, I should have had this figured out by now and all that. We're not doing that today. It's just simply to start to bring awareness to it. And I think
It
that
feel
that's the big piece.
and it feels like it's gotten a lot more heavy or hard to consider what you want when the last, like, 3 years, we've all been kind of, there's this ricocheting of, like, it's just there's just trauma all over the place and, like, crazy news and people not behaving ethically and the center will not hold, and it's like, how, like, I'm hearing a lot in a lot of different places, people saying, like, "There's a reckoning going on. There's a big," people are becoming aware. There's a big awareness movement going on right now. And while I agree with that for me, is that really happening with everybody, or is that just, like, the people I'm surrounding myself with? Because it does feel like things are untenable and can't keep going on the way that they are.
Yeah. I mean, we may be bouncing in the same circles because in my circles there is an awakening happening as well. I think that the shutdown forced people to face things that they didn't either have the time or the willingness to face, right?
Mhm,
And that's not counting like um some of the tragic things that happen. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff,
mhm.
right? I'm talking about just like your everyday life things that's going on. And so again, it comes back to that word choice is, do you want to keep going on the way that you're going, or are we waking up to the idea that things can be different and that we as people have a lot more power and a lot more influence than what we realize, and when used for good, good things can happen. So I think that what you're feeling is the same as what I'm feeling. I think that everyone's having their own version of it, and whether they're calling that an awakening or not, I think sometimes we get locked up in terms.
Mhm.
But I think that they're shifting and they're seeing that there is another way because we were forced into living another way.
So, let's get back to who you are, because I feel like we need to kinda do a little bit of like, I feel we got, like,
We're just
real deep, real fast. And,
that's my jam.
yeah, and I'm there with you. I just, wanna make sure that people understand, why you are so knowledgeable and learned and how you are qualified to tell people, how to get their out of their own way. So, how did you become Laura Ora? Your branding, your visionariness, how does that all come to be?
Yeah. So I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. So my branding agency is 16 years old. She's a
She can drive.
teenager.
She
She
can
can
drive.
drive. Yeah, she's official. So I started my branding agency 16 years ago when I was 6.5 months pregnant with my son. I was working at the phone book designing ads for the phone book. So we
Like
can
the
go back
telephone book?
the telephone book. Yeah, we're back in prehistoric days here.
Yeah, I
and
remember that 16 years ago. Yeah, the phone books were
yeah,
happening
yeah,
back then.
they were they were a whole thing.
Mhm,
And I can remember, working there and meeting some really great people and making good connections, but like I could feel the dread, right? I'm like, there is more to life than this. There's something bigger calling me. I've always just been really good about leaning into what is calling me or what I find interesting or curious. So when I was 6.5 months pregnant, I quit that job. I started my branding agency from my couch, and that business is still alive and well today. Through that journey, though, through working with entrepreneurs, I found that not only did the brand interest me, but maybe even more the mind of the people that I was working with really lit me up. And I'm like, okay, there's something in this. I have no idea what it is, but I find this very interesting. So I started interviewing entrepreneurs on something called the Green Couch Project, which was like a YouTube show. And, I just felt like, okay, me as an entrepreneur, I'm having all of these crazy feelings. One day I'm excited. The next moment I feel like everything is going to hell in a handbasket. I've got all these ideas. It's like really this kind of tug of war. So I'm like, if I'm feeling like this, I can't possibly be the only one, right? Like I'm at least hoping not.
mhm.
So I started having these conversations on the Green Couch Project, interviewing other entrepreneurs, and turns out just about every entrepreneur goes through the same kind of mental cycle. And it became a thing, and I loved it. And I wanted to grow the show, but the cost of putting on a whole production was limiting. So I was like, well, how do I do more of this and lower my cost? I'll figure out how to launch a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be that hard,
And
right?
and the mental cycle that you're talking about is just, I mean, is it the high highs and the low lows, or what would you say is the mental cycle that you see that most entrepreneurs kind of go
Yeah,
through?
absolutely. So the mental cycle tends to be four kind of pivotal moments. One is the aha moment. The strike of the idea, you saw something, you got inspired, you're like, "Oh, there it is. I love it." Like, what's going on? I'm loving this feeling. Next, we end up in this kind of ideas in motion, I call it. This is when you are researching, you are going on blogs, you're writing things down, you've got a special notebook that you picked up at Staples. Like, you're just like, you're in it, right? Like, you're in the thick of figuring out what this thing is. Then we start to turn the bend. This is where the subconscious mind tends to pop in.
Call this turning the bend?
Turning the bend.
Okay.
So we are going into the mental scramble now. The mental scramble is where the thoughts, feelings, emotions, and voice in your head likes to pop in and start to challenge that initial idea. Who am I to think that I can do this? I don't have enough experience. Other people are already doing this. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. All the things that your mind is telling you.
Like inner critic stuff.
The inner critic, yes. And then, last but not least, if and when that voice wins, then we end up in a standstill. And that's kind of the final part of this cycle, is you freeze, or you put the notebook away, or you fill up your time so that you don't have time. A lot of times self-sabotage comes into play in this phase, where we're just like unintentionally stopping ourselves because we have leaned into the belief that we cannot for whatever reason. And how long you stay there is not the same for everyone, and it's not the same for every situation. But inevitably, you end up with another aha moment, and the cycle starts all over again.
Huh. And you're saying that so can you apply this to like a real life situation, either with you or one of your clients, that can kind of illustrate this?
Sure.
Because I mean, when you get into this cycle of aha ideas, mental scramble, and then the standstill, like, what's the getting out of it? Like, what does it look like? What's the fifth option when you're not in the cycle? Like, what breaks the cycle?
Yeah. Well, there's another cycle called the aligned cycle, which is where we've actually broken what we were doing and are in a new, healthier cycle. But to give you an example, we're on a podcast, so I'll just use that as an example. Lots of people are interested in launching podcasts right now, so could be relevant. But this can be applied to literally any situation. So I get the aha, okay, I think I want to start a podcast. I like talking to people. I like connecting with people around the country, maybe even around the world. The idea of meeting new people is really exciting. I'm wanting to strengthen my voice, and I have something to say. I want to inspire people. Shit, I'm going to launch a podcast. That's your aha moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you go into the ideas in motion. How do I figure out how to launch a podcast? What equipment do I need? Is there somebody else that's podcasting that I can ask questions to? Who else is in the space that's doing what I might like to do, and what's working for them? And you're just doing all this research. You're figuring out the back end of launching a podcast. Then we round the bend, and the brain starts to take over. There's already hundreds of thousands of podcasts. What good do I have to offer into this? Why would my message be good enough? No one's probably going to listen to it anyway. It's probably too hard. I don't think I have enough time. No one's going to want to be on my show, and everything I have to say is shit.
Right? I mean, I'm familiar with all those feelings.
Yep. And then, if that takes over, now we have ended up in a situation where we're in the standstill. We're not looking up how to launch a podcast. We are not taking action moving forward. We haven't ordered the microphone. We're no longer, we let the trial subscription of GarageBand expire. or whatever
Or
it
you
is that
buy the
you're using.
microphone and you just look at it in a box.
You look at it every single day. And then you beat yourself up because, well, there it still sits and I'm not doing anything with it. Right? Like that's where we kind of end up if those thoughts take over. So it's crazy because it's so quick to happen. And like you mentioned earlier, it's the awareness piece, right? It's the how do I even recognize that I'm doing that when I just keep doing it, right? Like I'm in the hamster wheel of continuing in this cycle. And that's where the work that I typically do in. So, I started the podcast, which led me to coaching female entrepreneurs on how to get out of their own way so they can start doing the shit that they actually want to do in this world.
And that's where the aligned cycle comes in?
That's where the aligned cycle comes in. So happy to walk you through that real quick if you want.
Yeah, I am very curious about it.
Excellent. So we're basically the first two steps stay the same, right? We get the aha moment. We want to launch the podcast. We have the ideas in motion. That's where we're doing all the research. This is where the awareness piece pops in, right? Because I have a process that teaches you how to break this cycle, which is a different conversation that we can have in a minute if you'd like.
Okay.
But it's the awareness. And they coincide together here because the awareness piece this is where I pause. Okay, I'm doing all of this stuff. I'm researching. I've got the microphone sitting there. This is usually where my mind starts to take over. I'm starting to feel that tightness in my chest. I'm starting to hear that voice in my head. I can feel myself starting to kind of pull back and pull out of what I'm trying to do. Okay, I can see that. I can feel that. And so this power of the pause, this pause to check in with yourself. What am I saying to myself and how am I feeling? And if you can build awareness around those two things, then you can start to reclaim what's actually going on the inside. So instead
when
of going
you say, like thinking to myself, I'm self-sabotaging, is that like you have to kind of consciously say to yourself, like,
yes,
I
and
am
say it out
fucking this
loud.
up?
Yeah. Well, it's here it is again, right? So in the example, okay, nobody wants to listen to me. There's too many podcasts, all this stuff. I'm feeling like anxious about it. Like, okay, let me pause. What's going on right now? There it is again. I really want to fucking do this podcast. I'm excited about this. Why am I saying all these shitty things to myself? Is any of this actually true? Like, what is going on? And where am I feeling this in my body? Because our mind and our body are directly connected, right? We're constantly like we can physically feel our thoughts, which is insane to me, but it's so fascinating. So if we can stop long enough, if you're willing to stop long enough to even acknowledge how you're feeling and what you're thinking, then you start to come back up into your conscious mind because you're only thinking consciously up to 5% every single day. Literally. Like most of your thoughts are subconscious.
Really? Say more on that. What
So
do you mean?
What do you mean? So 95 to 97% of your thoughts every day are subconscious, which means you're not aware of them. These are pre-programmed things based off of thoughts, feelings, experiences, expectations, life circumstances, all the stuff that's been formed. It's like your subconscious is basically like your online storage bin for your brain.
Okay.
It's where you store things. But that's also where you operate out of the most. Okay? So this is where you are making decisions. This is where that voice that you hear is coming from. This is where you're operating out of. So 3 to 5% of your day, literally, is spent thinking with your conscious mind, the front of your mind, like the here physically now in the moment. And so when we don't have awareness, we're running on autopilot. Like you're literally making these decisions from the back of your brain. That's why things keep happening the way that they're happening. That's why the cycle continues because we're not aware of the thing that is subconsciously happening. So by bringing awareness, by stopping, you're like literally tricking your body and your brain to come back into the moment and get into that tiny, tiny window of 5% of your consciousness where you actually get to choose differently.
And that's one of the things that you help people do is like in the pause, get them like to make the 5% more rich or access more of the subconscious.
Yeah. Yes. So it's to get more into the conscious, but here's the cool thing. You are continuously creating new subconscious thoughts, beliefs, and actions. So by bringing things to the consciousness, by making change consciously, by doing that enough times, now you're creating a new habit. Eventually, that habit becomes a new subconscious thought. So it's new and requires you to like have a little bit more like oomph up front, but eventually it becomes a new healthier habit that you don't have to think about quite as much because it just becomes your new thing.
So you're not like ripping on yourself and telling
Correct.
yourself why, yeah.
Correct.
So,
Exactly.
okay, so is awareness one of the parts, or is that the
Awareness is
of the
part of the power back process. Okay. So I'm gonna insert the power back process in what then creates the aligned cycle. Okay. So the power back process is an acronym. AURA, which is
Oh,
aura,
interesting.
which helps you
That's
get
your
to
name.
it is pun fully intended.
Mhm.
But this process, this acronym, is what helps you to get back into your energy, to get reconnected so that you can consciously make a change. Okay, so the first part is awareness. A,
Mhm.
awareness. I have to get in touch with my thoughts and feelings. Am I willing to pause long enough to say what I'm thinking out loud and to recognize where it's at in my body? The
And
next,
when it manifests in your body, is that like the tightening in your chest, or is it like a knee problem that kind of flares up? Like what is the what is the
literally anything. So definitely have no medical background here, so cannot claim anything
Sure.
medically. However, sometimes there's just really unexpected and unexplainable things that people search for years or decades to try and figure out what the hell's going on. And all the doctors are like, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Um, More often than not, in those types of situations, there's something going on in your mind that has manifested into your body. So this could be, um, tightness in your chest. This can be anxiety. This can be a pain in your left knuckle, right? Like this can be ongoing headaches or migraines. This can
Mhm.
be pain in your lower back. Like there's also energetically like different spaces in your body, and what that means as to what you're holding on to, which is a whole different discussion. But it can manifest just about as anything,
Okay.
right? Like anything physically. So for me, it's often in my chest. I get a tightness in my chest. I get anxiety. So
Mhm.
I can sense it. And that's the other cool thing about this is the more that you like pause and recognize, the easier and faster it is to pause and recognize, right? It's a muscle. I mean, you're essentially building a new, stronger muscle. So now we've got awareness of it. So the next step is you, which is to unpack it. This is a non judgmental space. We are not here to be like, oh, see, I'm doing the thing again. And now I'm going to kick my own ass because I'm doing the thing. No, we're just getting curious about what's going on. Did I see something that, kind of brought this up in me? Did I read something that triggered this? Is this a habit that I've had in the past that now I'm kind of perpetuating in it? Like basically, where is this coming from? We're just getting curious with it. And what that does is it starts to soften it. Because at first, that feeling is often like really like dense and really hard. So
Mhm.
unpacking it allows us to like start to soften it. Then we can go into R, which is to reframe it. What is really true? I'm super capable of this. I've figured out so many other things. What I have to say is really important. Everything is figure outable, right?
Mhm.
That's a coined phrase. Um, there are people in my life that I can lean on. If I don't know, I can ask someone. The internet has a shit ton of information. I can figure this out, right? We're reframing it. We're starting to get back into our bodies. Now we're starting to get into our conscious mind. And now we can go into the last portion, which is A, to take aligned action. Now I can choose to respond and continue to move forward instead of going on that windy, turny, wacky
Mhm.
trail that I would typically go down. Now I've gotten back into my body. Now I'm consciously aware of what's going on, and now I can choose differently. And that, my friend, is where you make your fucking change.
Ah,
Ta-da!
the change happens. And did you figure this all out, staring off into the abyss? I mean, if you don't have medical training, this is all pretty psychological, there's, a bit of, cognitive behavioral therapies kind of in here as well. And I mean, where are you? This is a lot of very dense psychological stuff.
It is. I'm a nerd for learning about people in the brain. So I'm currently in the process of getting certified in mind-body connection. So that's really fun.
How do you get certified in mind-body connection?
Nobody knows that, by the way. You're the first person outside of my house to know that. There's a program that I'm going through right now. It's a 6-month program that gets you certified that I would be happy to share some information. It's
but who can certify you?
The Mind Body Food Institute. They're based out of Australia, and the certification is accredited by a bajillion different areas that says that it's real. I don't know I don't know the real terminology, right? Because you can pop online and in a week get a certificate, and I'm not knocking that by any means, but this is board certified. I don't know who the board is. I don't know. It just tells me that it's super real. And
is it following the teachings of Dr. John Sarno? Or is that part of it, or is it I went through a huge personal physical pain. I had chronic pain for almost a decade, and then I wound up healing it after I had 4 surgeons tell me I needed to fuse my spine with mind body work. That was how I got. That's how I overcame it. And so I have a lot of experience and opinions and feelings about this. So I'm very interested in what you're doing, because I'm wait a minute, could I also get certified in that? What's the food part?
Yeah, that I don't know. I'm not involved in that. They have a couple of different certifications and programs within this school. It's been a great experience. I'm happy to share the information with you.
Put it in the show notes.
There you go. Excellent.
So you're getting certified in mind-body food connection.
Yes.
Not the food.
Not the food. That's an important part, but not my focus. But also, honestly, just my own journey, right? Healing my own trauma and wounds, lots of personal therapy as well. I'm a huge advocate for supporting the mental health. And my intuition, I'm very intuitively inclined, and working with energy is something that I've always had an interest in. And it's all of that combined has formed and built and gelled over the years to lead me to where I am today. And the things that I teach are the things that essentially that I created with the support also of, grounded knowledge. But these are the things that I use to change my life, and I believe wholeheartedly that we are so much more capable. I mean, you just shared how you were able to heal something that was super chronic through your mind, and many other things, I'm sure. But we are so much more capable than we give ourselves permission. And the ones that are ready but also willing to show up and do what the world calls the work, we can do anything. It's liberating and terrifying all at the same time, and I recognize that, but you're worth it, right?
Well,
you're
yeah,
worth it.
Especially if this is all you got. Who knows if this is all we got, but you kind of have to operate from a place that this is all you've got. I mean, I know that some people like to think well, when I die, everything will get better. That seems like a terrible way to live. But when you only have this, it's what are you waiting for?
Right.
There's no one's going to come to you and hand you a better job. No one's going to come to you and hand you a better, plan to make your idea come to fruition.
Right.
And so this is what you've got. And so when you basically when you were doing the green couch project, that's consecutive with your branding company. The branding company is still going, and is that what you do still?
The branding company is still up and running. Yeah, it is definitely, it's kind of our bread and butter. But over the last few years, and especially when COVID hit, myself, much like basically everyone else on the planet kind of had this life epiphany of what I really want to do and what really lights me up. And that is helping people to wake up and to get out of their own way and to actually start doing, like, actually being happy and joyful and creating a life that is for them without the expectation of what everyone else in society thinks that they should. And so I started leaning more into the coaching aspect. This is when I unintentionally created the power back process. This is just what I was doing. And at one point, I'm like, okay, this is actually working. So, what were the steps that I took to get to this point? Let me start documenting this stuff. I mean, I have notebooks for notebooks for notebooks because my brain just doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm forever writing things down because I'm like, every single day there's a learning lesson. And how can I share this with the people in my world and in my community? Because if I have these little aha moments, if I get these little trinkets of information, let me apply it with myself. And if there's something good in it, let me share that with people. Let me teach other people how to do the same thing.
So when you've taught this to other people, when you started getting, like, when you got your first client to wherever you are today with your stable of clients, like, what kinds of things have you taken people through to, like, make the aha moment come to fruition?
Hmm. Well, you know, it's funny because the majority, I work primarily with women, but not exclusively. I'm open to the right person and the right alignment. But most of the people that I support are women in business, and a lot of them are going through life changes and or they are sick and tired of being stuck, right? Like they're like, I know that there's more for me. I know I'm meant to do more, but I'm frustrated as hell because for whatever reason I just can't seem to do it. I know what I need to do, but I can't do it, right? And so I've seen women completely change their life in the sense of like changing their income, of course, is often a big one, going from undercharge, like grossly undercharging, to having milestone financial months. That always feels super amazing, right? I've also seen women just completely change their energy field. And what I mean by that is like I've worked with someone who, when they came to me, like, flat was the word that they used. I feel flat. I'm not excited about anything. I'm not inspired about anything. Like nothing's really happening. To now is like this like ball of energy that's bouncing around, that's taking risks, that is able to like shift through some negative mindset stuff like in the moment, and is attracting the right clients now because of it. Like the entire vibe of her house has changed and how she runs her household, and the impact that she's making on people. Now there's a ripple effect, which is it's just it's incredible, right? Like I think one of the most common things that I see is like these women come back alive. And when they're feeling alive, they make more aligned decisions. They're taking more calculated risks in their business. They are living a lifestyle that they actually want to live. They're impacting the people in their lives. A lot of them have kiddos, right?
Mhm,
And where are the kids looking? Right up at you.
mhm,
So now we're causing this ripple effect in a positive way where we're positively impacting our children. They're positively now impacting their clients. I mean,
mhm.
it's hard to put your finger on because it perpetuates in the best of ways.
And when you like, are you so, how many, I mean, roughly how many people do you think have gone through your power back process? And like, is it like a one time, like, is it like a one time engagement, or do they like see you forever? Like, are you like a business therapist?
It's funny that you say that because I've been given that title more times than I could probably count. It's like they're like, "Oh, you help me with my business, but you're also like my therapist, so you're like my business therapist." I'm like, it's not so bad. I can accept that. You
And
know,
you're not gonna violate any HIPAA laws.
no medical stuff. We're not going down that road. It's I will be super transparent in that in my coaching practice, I feel like right now I have just caught traction.
Mm,
And I want to be super vulnerable about that with everyone listening right now, because when you start to do something that you're passionate about, I think it's very easy to say or feel like it should happen right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have a real hard time with that. I want it to like when I have an aha moment or when I like come up with an idea, I want today to be the day when it's actually working. I'm really bad at taking the steps to make things happen.
And if it sounds like your brain works like mine in that by the time I've decided that I want it, I've already been thinking about it for probably weeks or months at a time. So to me, it's not a new thing. It's a now I'm ready to run. The challenge with that is we poke at the mental cycle when we do that, because now we're slipping back into the mental scramble and saying crap things to ourselves. And, oh, when it's not working, now here's proof of why I suck, right? Yes. So the reason I'm sharing this is because, when COVID hit and I decided to go into coaching, there was probably a solid year or so of just even figuring out what that meant to me. And then honestly, it was quite a few years of continuing to show up even when it felt like nobody was listening. And that, my friend, again, is where the change happens. Because what happens is we get discouraged when things are not going 1,000 miles an hour when we want it to, when we decide we are ready for it. It's like, okay, are you willing to work through this as this is building, as these opportunities are coming in? Are you willing to continue to show up when maybe you feel like nobody's listening? Now, on the other side of that, people are always listening. You just don't know, right? Like the podcast, used to average, 1,000 downloads a month, which is amazing, right?
That's the
like
goal.
1,000 downloads.
Goal.
Yeah, 1,000 downloads was like incredible. Some months less than that, right? 500, 800 a month. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. Now we're averaging 5,000 to 6,000 downloads a month. I'm like, people have always been listening. It's a matter of, are you willing to stay consistent and show up when it feels like they're not, when you don't have any quote unquote proof that they are. And a lot of it is the experiment of what works and what doesn't, what content resonates with people and what doesn't. And so, now I've got 5 coaching clients. I've got 5,000 to 6,000 downloads a month. I've got a Facebook community that's, grown to almost 800 people very, very quickly. But none of that happened because I just started this, right? All of this is happening because I continued to show up and I continued to do the mind work in the moments where I felt like I was a piece of shit and nobody wanted to hear me. Because was that true? Absolutely not. I've always been brilliant, but I'm always learning. And there are people that are silently listening and absorbing the content. You wouldn't believe how many people I talk to that are like, I've been listening to you for years. I just binged every TikTok that you've ever made. Right? Like you can't calculate that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We lean too much on metrics. And sometimes you just have to trust.
Yeah, that's my hard part with all of the TikTok of it all and the people not listening is that I don't understand social media. I don't care. I post pictures of my kid. I have a social media person that posts my things for me because I don't have that instinct, and I wish I did because I feel like I would have a better community because I don't know how to build that. And that's where I get very stuck. I'm like, I can't figure out how to make a TikTok, so I'm never going to be able to have an online community. And I don't know if there's any truth in that. But I do understand the consistency and the showing up because I can disappear for a while. I'm real good at disappearing for a while.
Well, but that's easy, right? And while it's uncomfortable because it's not getting you to where you want to be or have what you want, it's comfortable because it's familiar. So getting temporarily uncomfortable to get a new outcome, again, that is what we call the work, where we are building awareness. Okay, there I am again. I can't make the TikTok because I don't know how to do the thing. So now I'm just not going to. There it is again. I'm talking myself out of it. What do I actually want? I want to grow a community. Okay, I can figure out how to make a TikTok.
There's some very dumb people that can make TikToks. I probably can't figure it out.
You absolutely, everything can be figured out. And if you can't do it on your own, there's somebody that can guide you, right? It just depends on how willing are you to lean into figuring something new out to get a different outcome. Because learning how to make a TikTok video is temporary. It's a short moment. Once you learn it, right?
Mhm.
And then you can just wash, rinse, repeat all over again.
It is
So
it's really easy to make excuses on why things won't work.
yes. Yeah. And tendencies and resistance are two things that I talk a lot about because those are the two kind of like they like to hold hands and skip down the street together. Those are the turds that like to nestle their way into your brain and convince you that you can't and therefore you won't. So, I make a video quite frequently because it ruffles feathers in the best of ways. And I tell people that the thing that you want the most is often behind the thing that you resist the most. And when I tell you, people get fucking wound up.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yes.
Say that again. The thing you want the most. Wait, say it again.
Mm-hmm. The thing that you want the most is often behind the thing that you resist the most. And most of the time, people are like, "Why would I do that? This is the thing that I want. Why would I push it away? Why would I resist it?" I'm like, "Well, let me tell you. So let's use time. I want more free time. Okay. I want
Okay.
more white space in my calendar. I want more time to do things with my family. This is something a lot of people that come into my world, they're like, I just want more time. Okay. So let's look at how you're resisting that. I'm resisting having more time by unintentionally packing my calendar. I'm saying yes to things that I don't actually want to do. I'm
Mhm.
taking on one extra meeting tomorrow because, well, there's a little bit of a sliver in there. And so I'll make it happen. I'm going to a bunch of shit that I don't actually want to go to, right? You're giving away your time. You're resisting having free time. And
Mhm. You want more
why
time,
am
but
I
you're giving it away. Yeah, that's
Yes. Yes. And why am I doing that? Because the idea of having time is actually scary. The
Mhm.
idea of having white space, what am I going to do with myself? Well, now I don't feel productive. Now I don't feel like I'm contributing. Now I feel like a failure. Now my brain's taking it. Like the thing that you want the most is often behind the thing that you resist the most. So if we get very real about what you actually want and you look at how you're resisting it, that can tell you a whole lot about what's
Mhm.
important to you.
A couple weeks ago, my husband was going to take my son to his parents' house in Iowa for a weekend, and he's like, "How would I just take Sebastian and like you just stay home and like have a ladies' weekend, like do whatever you want?" I'm like, "That sounds great." And then I was like, "I don't know how to fill my time if it's
Yeah.
mine." Like it was weird. It was like, and I really was like kind of nervous about the weekend because I was like, "Oh, I don't know how I'm going to do it." And then John canceled the trip, and I was relieved because I didn't have to think about like how I was gonna have to figure out what to do with my time when I have it. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's the ultimate flex is, like, having time, right? Like, it feels like whenever you ask anybody how they're doing, "Oh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. Couldn't be more busy. Oh my god, I'm doing 15 things in this moment. You just can't see them." And it's like and as if it's a flex, and
Yeah.
I've been as guilty of that as the next person. And, like, really the real flex is, like, I ain't got shit to do because I chose
Yeah.
it. Not because I don't
Yeah.
have I don't have a client, not because I don't have like, you know, it's because I I I made that hole in my life and I'm going to go stare off into the abyss. I'm going to like watch The Bear, which I'm so sick of people telling me to watch the fucking Bear and I'm like you'd love it. I'm like I'm sure I'd love a lot of things. Who's got the time? And then maybe I could have the time if I just sort of said I'm just going to watch TV instead of
If
like,
you chose
cleaning.
it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the goal here is to get into that aligned cycle, right? Is to you basically got to trick yourself until it becomes real.
And is
If
the
I'm just
align
putting it in like layman's terms,
you tricking
you're
yourself?
basic you're basically tricking yourself until it becomes real, right? Like you want more time, you want the downtime, you want to sit on the front porch and drink a cup of coffee every morning, but you don't have enough time to. Okay, is that really actually real? Is that very true? Or have we created a reality that makes that to be true?
you remember a couple there was a woman who posted a thing on the internet that was like, it was like on Twitter, and she was like, my favorite thing in the world is, drinking a cup of coffee for 3 hours with my husband, and like, you know, like it was basically like, I get to sit in my garden. Do you remember this?
Yes.
And everybody was giving her so much shit, like, wouldn't we all like to sit in the garden for 3 hours with our husbands and drink coffee? And then she had to
Yeah.
like go on and be like, wait a minute, I have a job that starts at 4:00 in the afternoon, and I work from 4:00 until 1:00 in the morning. So therefore, like, almost like apologizing for like,
Yeah.
it was just like a wholesome, like, I like hanging out with and people were like, how can you like hanging out with your husband so much? Don't you hate him like I hate my husband? And it was like this. It was one of the most disgusting Ouroboroses that I've seen like play itself out on the internet. And is that sort of what we're talking about here?
Yeah. I mean, think about like that is like flashing lights on the parts of people's lives that they're just miserable in, right? Like, if you all right, I'm gonna go on a rant here for a second.
Do it.
I gotta shift my seat around. We cannot continue to bash people for having things that make them happy and also want those same things. For instance, if your goal is to be financially abundant, right? If you want to take the trips, you want tons of money in the bank, you want to be able to give back to things in your community, you're like, I want to be rich, I want to have a lot of money. But then you're opening up your phone and you see somebody on a vacation with their family or enjoying their life with their money. And your very first thought or instinct is to bash how fucking ridiculous their life is. There's a problem.
What is that?
Right?
Like, what is that particular? Because I feel like I see that and feel that all the time. The bashing for people for things that they're bashing people for having the things they want. That's what this is. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that there's probably a lot to unpack in there, but if I had to throw out some guesses, a lot of it's projection, right? A lot of it is unhappiness coming to the surface as anger. And I think sometimes it's a mirror where you can see what's possible, but you know that you're not choosing to. And that disrupts people's souls. Again, often comes out as anger or judgment or stereotyping or whatever it is that you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. But if there's something in someone that's invoking you that you want, that's invoking a big emotion, take that as a sign that there's something in there for you to learn or to unpack or to heal. Because if you want to have a lot of money in life, and I'm just using that one as an example, or let's use the gal that was drinking coffee for 3 hours in the garden. If you want the time to be with people that you love and to not have to work at early in the morning, but you're pissed off because you're working early in the morning and you don't have time to do that, and now you're bashing on this gal, or maybe you're not outwardly, but inwardly, now you're like making it mean a whole thing. There's something in there to be healed. Are you willing to change careers? Are you willing to get a new job? Are you willing to adjust your schedule so that you can have that time? Are you willing to do the work with your spouse so that you have a healthy relationship? You know what I mean? Like this is the work. Mm-hmm. So to have what you want, you must be willing to do the work to have it. Like these things don't just fall out of the fucking sky and land in your lap.
There's there's the how long have you been married?
20 years.
20 years. I've been married almost 13 or 14, whatever. I don't know how. I've been over 10 years. And it's like when you're married for over 10 years, I have to, that's all I'm at this point, not 20, but you have moments where like things kind of suck and you're like, Jesus Christ, this isn't what I signed up for. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. I actually did sign up for this. I actually did sign up for better or for worse. And I have to say, it's like when Michelle Obama she said something in her most recent book about how she hated Barack Obama for like 10 years, specifically the time when we all knew them very intimately. It was very comforting to me that like, oh, wait, even the woman and man who have seemingly the greatest relationship in the entire country have had problems. I'm like, oh, then it makes, but then you're like, wait a minute, are we all just like Stockholm syndroming ourselves. And not that my marriage with my husband is awesome. Like I'm not, but it's not all easy and it requires work. And
Yes.
and that's the thing. That's where I was going with this, was that like life is work. It doesn't have to suck though. Like, don't you go to work sometimes and love it? Like, I mean, I do, but I think you and I both do because we own our own companies.
Right.
You want to hope that if you're going to work and you made it happen, that you like it. But there are days that it fucking sucks. But it's like but the good days far outweigh the bad ones, and but you have to work to get there. And I don't think that's
Absolutely.
where the problem lies, is the having to actually do stuff to make things happen.
Yeah. I mean, you, all of us can say all day long that we want something, but if we don't support that want with a decision and an action, then it stays in the space of being a want. And, resentment grows, and then comparison grows, and all this stuff grows. And it's like, are there extreme circumstances where, okay, maybe some of the people that you see were handed some of this stuff? Absolutely. There are situations for everything. But the majority of time, people get and have what they want, live the way that they want, run a business the way that they want, or going on the vacations that they want. It's because they chose something and then they worked for it to have it. And that is possible for people, but it's easier to stay stuck because that's familiar. It's easy to sit around and bitch about stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know about you, but I don't know if you've ever gotten caught in like one of those like conversation circles where it's like, whose life sucks the most right now?
Yeah. It's
I'm
so busy people.
yes. And it's like, if that's what you choose, then so be it. But using that then as fuel to project onto other people, that's where it's not cool, right? Whereas it's like, okay, maybe I'm having a sucky moment right now. Maybe business isn't going the way I want it to, or maybe my finances aren't the way I want it to be, or, my relationship's not the way I want it to, whatever your story is right now. If you recognize that and then actively choose to change it little by little, taking messy action, because that's the other thing. People get tripped up on needing to have all the details to move forward when really we just need to focus on what that next thing is. And we start to lean into the possibility instead of the thing that's draining us, then you can really start to make some change. And then you too could sit in the coffee. Not don't sit in your coffee. That's gross. You
I don't
too
know.
could.
I'd like to drown in coffee sometimes.
I mean, you can just suck that stuff right up in your butt.
Yeah. A coffee enema.
I mean, that's
how I want to wake up in the morning.
You're gonna be alive. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But you could sit in the garden and have coffee if you wanted to. And if that's not your thing, what is your thing? What is the thing that's most important to you? What is the thing that would like drastically change the quality of your life right now? Okay, if you're willing to identify and voice that, even if it's just to yourself, what's one thing that you can do today to get you closer to that? And that's really all it boils down to.
Mm-hmm. And the patience to see it through and
Yeah.
realize that it's like, I mean, I find that very rarely is anything a straight line. Like we have this fallacy that other people are having things so much easier than us, or that they understand it better, or they were given the right book, or the right person was put in front of them. I mean, I'd even argue that people who bitch about, oh, they were I found myself besmirching a lot of people that like where their parents gave them seed money to start their business, or paid for whatever. There's any number of legs up I can imagine that people are given. And it's like, even if you have certain things handed to you, that almost it's a curse in its own. But at any rate, the power back cycle, is that the
Yes.
aura? Is it awareness, unpack, reframe, and alignment? Is that the power back cycle?
That is the power back process.
And is
what helps you get into the aligned cycle.
Oh wait, and then what's the line cycle?
So that's where we've changed, before we were in the mental cycle, right? The loop that keeps us stuck, right? When you implement the power back process, then you can get into the aligned cycle, which is where you make change. So, we had the aha moment. We had the ideas in motion where we were researching the shiznit out of launching this podcast. I'm gonna bring us back full circle here. Now our brain starts to do that thing that it always does. Okay, boom, power back process, awareness. We're going through that process. Now that we've gotten back into our body, instead of doing the mental scramble, now we are in self-belief.
Ooh.
This is basically the reframe, right? This is shifting into what's true and what's real and what's possible and seeing things from this moment, not from the past or worrying about the future. That allows us then to shift into the aligned action, which is where we are choosing to move forward from our conscious mind, from our embodiment of self and what's true. This is where we're taking the messy action. This is where we are sending the email. This is where we are buying the equipment. This is where we are taking the walk instead of cramming in one more thing. This is where we are sitting on the porch drinking a cup of coffee in the morning instead of taking on another meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's this process over and over and over again where we truly start to see the change. And sometimes it's in a short period of time because they're little changes, and sometimes they're bigger things that are ready to be shifted, and it takes a little bit more time. We have to release our need to control time, because I don't know if you've picked up on it, but that's not really up to us. So, it sounds simple and clear here in this conversation, but it's not always in the moment, right? It's when you're standing at this crossroads by yourself. Are you going to choose yourself this time, or are you going to keep going down the path that is draining you, that is pulling you away from your mission, that is stopping you from actually living the way that you want to?
I think I want you to have like a call-in show, like a call-in radio show where people call in and like give you their business problems and you like business Delilah them.
Oh my gosh, Delilah. I remember Delilah. I could get down with that.
I feel like I just planted a new seed. Can you do call-in podcasts? Is that a thing?
I mean, I feel like you could do call-in Zooms or something along those lines and record it and turn it into a podcast. Or maybe like a syndicated radio show.
Mm-hmm. Like a business Delilah.
Picks me up and we have a whole new business conversation.
So we are almost at time. This like kind of flew by. I just looked at the clock and I'm like, how are we at 58 minutes? So how can people find you? What can they do? Like, what's your situation?
For finding? Yes. So the hub is lauraaura.com. It's LAURA.com. That'll give you all the information that you need about ways that we can work together. I'd love to support people. It also has links to all of my social media, but I play the most on TikTok and now Facebook. Weirdly, that's a whole different conversation.
Is it making a comeback?
In my slice of the world, yes. On all the platforms, I'm at that Laura Aura. But again, all those links are on my website. Funny quick story. I was literally about to shut down my Facebook page because I'm like, there's nothing happening over there. There was very few, every picture or post would get 2 likes, which, I'm thankful for that. But there was no momentum right there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm getting ready to shut it down. And we decided to start to repurpose my TikTok videos as reels on Facebook. Okay. And this was 3 months ago. I have 18,000 followers and it is my most active platform to date.
18,000?
Yeah, 18,000.
Well, how many followers do you have on TikTok?
12,000.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, again, sometimes you just got to hold on and tinker around with things a little bit. You never truly know when that next breakthrough moment is about to happen. And they only happen when we are willing to continue to show up and try. Now, when you have a gut feeling, when something's just done, honor that. But, sometimes it's just sticking things out a little bit longer when, again, you think that nobody's listening, then all of a sudden everyone is.
That's beautiful. I think we're going to end there. That was gorgeous. That was gorgeous. Well, thank you so much, Laura, for taking time out of your business bonker mind stuff. That was very eloquent. I just
business bonker mind stuff. That's the name of my next class.
I think you just slap that on a bumper sticker and be that's the future. All right. Well, thank you so much.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to All Up in My Lady Business with me, Mary Nisi. We'd love for you to like, review, subscribe, follow us at All Up in My Lady Business on the gram. And if you're a female identifying person and you want to dance, you can follow. I mean, everybody can follow it. But if you want to be a part of the magic at Hot Flash Dance Party, sign up for the mailing list to find out where our next party is going to be. And if you are looking for a DJ in the Chicagoland area or anywhere else, money's the same color everywhere. Fly us out. ToastandJamDJs.com has the best. And listen to my radio show. I have a radio show on Chirp Radio at chirpradio.org. And that's Mondays, every Monday from 12 until 3 p.m. CST. Today's episode is produced by Shiraz Dada. Theme song composed and performed by, you guessed it, Shiraz Dada. All right, guys. Peace out.